gosh dang it, I end up being late anyway because I wasn't paying attention. Hello everyone. Welcome to this month's annual book club. First of all, congratulations Brian and Blue for first and third respectfully. Hello Brian, hello Blue, hello Juju. How's everybody doing today? Congratulations Brian on getting to go see a Kerr show. I feel like the music's a little bit loud, so we're gonna reduce that a little bit. That'll be that'll do it. That'll do it right there. Nailed it. Crushed it. Something is incorrect. Uno secondo. There we go. That makes more sense. But hello everybody, welcome. We're going to talk about a new book. We're going to talk about the book we read this month. That's pretty exciting. What's the button again for this? It's whoop. There we go. Hello. How is everybody doing today? I'm doing well. How about you? Well, I'm doing all right. I spent the last 2 hours basically losing my mind. Essentially semi-dreaming, semi-hallucinating that today was my Shadows of Doubt stream that's happening tomorrow. And even after being awake, it still took me at least 30 minutes before I fully was like, no. That's not what's happening. You're doing book club today. But other than that, pretty good. And yeah, I don't know how the streaming streaks or the stream view streak stuff works, Brian. I don't understand. I think it's a lot of bologna, honestly. I think that's what it truly is. It's a bunch of baloney. Insert random conspiracy theories here because that's what you do in situations like this. You come up with something silly. Twitch is just using it to give a continuous small dopamine drip in order to just slightly increase the chances of you returning to the next streams and a potential opportunity to give subs in order to give them money. There's my conspiracy theory for the day, which I don't know, that might not even be outlandish. That might be closer to the truth than I'd like to admit. But what do I know? I'm not a marketer. I don't know how things work. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, so today we're going to be talking about the hello Artisan Pancakes. How are you? Today we're going to be talking about Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K. Dick, which was actually a really, really solid book that I really enjoyed, but had some parts in it that I was like, how does this work? How did this happen? Why did this happen? Confusion. Oh, thank you very much for the bits. Thank you so much, Artisan Pancakes. I appreciate that. With the little fire bouncy boy. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. Oh, and let me just stretch for a second despite it having not been redeemed because I need it. I just thought of something kind of funny. People that are called William but have a nickname. Will can either say I am Will or... I do not know how to respond because I'm simultaneously taking a metaphorical brick to the side of the head, but also amused. Well done, Juju. Well done. You crushed it. Absolutely just... it sounds stupid, but you know, it works. It does work. And that's why I'm upset right now. Look at me. I'm distraught. I am incapable of recovery. Inconsolable, crying real tears. Wait, subtitles are working? Okay, good. Subtitles have been a little bit funky as of late. And hello, Flossie. Congratulations on second. We're just about to start. So please do chime in and voice your opinions as they show up. And thank you for reminding me that I don't suck. That I don't suck at arson pancakes. So, for those who haven't read the book, the basic summary of the book is set in a dystopian future past, I think, because I think it's technically... No, Blue has redeemed third. How to say... I'm pretty sure it's set in, like... Yeah, the dystopian future past, where the world is in a state of nuclear fallout. Most species have died. A lot of people have integrated or have emigrated to Mars. The people who remain are just trying to, like, eke out a living to the best of their abilities. And one of the pushes, or one of the drives to go to Mars, is to get access to an android who will basically be like a servant. And the thing is that the androids are perpetually becoming more and more advanced. And some of them have started reaching a point where they desire a lack of servitude and instead increase their how to say it? They're a lot how to say it? Sorry, brain is not working too well right now. They essentially desire freedom, which they do when they come to, or they like escape to Earth to try and like hide out essentially. And the main character, Rick Deckard, is a bounty hunter who finds these androids and, with quotation marks, retires them. And that's essentially what the book is about. It's about the adventure of Deckard, who is trying their best to find... Is it 6? I think it's 6. It's 1, 2, 3... Yeah, I think it's 6. And the thing about the androids is that it's very difficult to distinguish them from people because they're so advanced. They're the Nexus Type 6, I believe is what they're called in the book. And the big thing about it is there's only basically 2 ways to figure out if they are an android or not. There is a bone marrow test, and there is essentially like an empathy test. I do not remember what the name of the empathy test is. I hope I wrote it down. Let me see here for a second. All right, I wouldn't be able to pronounce it even if I wanted to. And yeah, so there's there's a lot of like play in the book about like how can you distinguish between androids and people, what makes the difference, and the general idea is empathy. And that's what the test is supposed to do. It's a bunch of different questions that are supposed to make people react in a specific way, and the reactions are supposed to tell them if they are, or is supposed to tell the tester if they are organic or if they are android. And no, like it's got like a really, really, I very much enjoyed the book. It's actually quite good. It's very up my alley. It's very sci-fi. It's very adventure. It's got some good tension to it. It's got a lot of like philosophical questioning to it that I really enjoy. And I haven't gotten a chance to actually debate with Flossie about this, but I believe that we have differing opinions on the book itself, or probably more the writing. I will say, though, Flossie, there's a couple of parts in the book where I am flat out like, wait, why? Why does this happen? Like the empathy boxes, or whatever the heck they're called. When they go to the empathy boxes and they get like the rock thrown at them thing, and then they release the empathy box and they're bleeding. That part just always didn't make sense to me, where it's just like, wait, so is it like, is the box just so powerful that it's just transmitting the effect to them? But then we learn later that Mercerism, which is essentially this universe's religion, it turns out it's all fake, and that like the thing that's thrown is like something very soft, and it was just like acting. And it's just like, well, wait, if that's the case, then why are people bleeding from it? And then the frickin' spider at the end, where what's the name of the other guy again? I'm so bad with names. Un secondo. John. John is just able to, like, after the androids, like, mutilate the spider, he, like, somehow is given a brand new spider. And it's just fine. Like, it just materializes. Like, I understand that the box is supposed to be, like, another... It's supposed to be another thing about empathy, because, like, empathy is, like, a huge... is, like, a huge theme of the book. But the empathy boxes, they just felt so strange. Like, they weren't in-universe explained enough. I just know that there were two handles that you would grab onto, and you would just like connect to anybody else that was using the empathy box. And it just went from like futuristic dystopian sci-fi to like, what is it called again? I don't remember the name of I don't remember the name of this, but there's like a saying in sci-fi that says any technology beyond a certain threshold of our own is indistinguishable from magic. And that's how the empathy boxes felt, where it was just like, okay, wait, everything else is pretty plausible. We have hover cars. I can get that. You know, we have like laser pistols. Get that. We have androids. Got it. Then we have two antennas that you grab onto, and you can physically connect with anyone else who is grabbing hold of them, and also can you follow Mercer for Mercerism and like deal with his struggle, which essentially is just like, as far as I can tell, it's just like a giant nod to like the suffering of like of religious figures such as like Jesus's walk with the cross, etc. And then come back out again with the injuries. It's just like, okay, that one I'm not following. That one's weird. That spider one specifically really took me out of the end for a moment, where I'm just like, wait, no, how does he get the spider? Like, there's a total chance that it was just all in your head, you know, like that the hallucination is just so powerful that for a period of time, you believe it. If they had done it that way, sure, I would have been fine with it. In that case, it basically would be the equivalency of just like an intense sensory device of some kind, you know? Like if you like condensed like a sad movie down into like a pill, you know, like that kind of idea. Then I'd be just like, fine, they're just living in like the post, how to say, in like the kind of the post high of the thing that they're interacting with. But they're not, because other people interact with them afterwards. Like, you know, at one point, Deckard takes the hit from the rock and he's bleeding from it. And I think his wife helps wipe the blood away, implying that there's real blood. So it's just like, what is it? How does it? How? How and why? And how and why? And no problem at all, Juju. Thank you so much for stopping by. And I don't want to destroy it. Yeah, no, please. If you have a good sleep schedule, please stick to the sleep schedule. Please cling to that thing for dear life. And thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate the heck out of it. But, like, yeah. So, the empathy boxes, I wish they didn't exist. The only reason that they're really important is just to show how intensely connected people are to, like, Mercer and Mercerism. But the problem with it is... And, like, you need that in order to show, like, how important that ending is when, what is it? Happy whatever or friendly Buster Friendly comes in and it's just like, hey, an expose. Turns out everything in there is fake. And it's just like, I get that that's supposed to, like, rattle people's cages because it's essentially, like, pulling the rug out of people who have faith. It reminds me a little bit of the Simpsons episode where Homer... gets the crayon out of his brain, and they find, and because of that he like mathematically proves that there's no God, and you know, like Ned finds out and he's just like, can't let this little thing slip out, and like, you know, like destroys the evidence, only to learn that Homer is putting the evidence on like every car on the street. It kind of reminds me of that kind of idea, you know? Like, it's supposed to be like, oh, he's about to, like, upheave a huge portion of the population because people are just, like, you know, like, Mercerism is, like, a big thing. Like, the two main characters... Well, technically, the main character's wife and then the secondary main character, John, are big into Mercerism. But then at the end, like, Deckard also has kind of, like, a weird, like, spiritual awakening where, like, Mercer talks to him, and that's the only reason that he can kill, I think her name was Prit. And, like, that was kind of weird, and then he's talking about just, like, I've become one with Mercer, and I don't think I'll ever be able to unfuse, so I'm gonna go to the desert and... game end myself? I think it's implied that that's the plan. The ending of the book is a little bit The ending of the book is kind of weak in my opinion. Everything up to that besides the empathy boxes though was really, really good as far as I'm concerned. I really enjoyed most of everything. I liked the psychologicalness. I liked the people messing with Deckard's head because he interacts with like a bunch of different androids at random times, and they very much like toy with him where it's just like, well, how do you know that you're not an android? And he's like, well, I've taken the test. And it's just like, well, we all androids have like fake memory boxes. And it's like, well, you know, I know who I am. And it's just like, well, we thought we knew who we are too. And it's like, okay, that's interesting. I like that. Put the guy who's supposed to kill you on the back foot question-wise. And also they can check the box to see. No, the androids themselves in this book are almost completely organic besides, I mean, not a whole lot. I guess technically their brain? I don't know. It's kind of implied that it's almost impossible to differentiate from look and from, like, innards specifically, besides like bone marrow and again like the empathy test. Hold on, sorry, just to make sure that I have my thought process here correctly. Yes. Yeah, like there's a lot of good things. All like the androids have their own uniqueness. One thing, we should probably talk about themes now that I think about it, because if I don't start talking about themes, I'm gonna just get lost and just like complaining about things I didn't like and talk about stuff that I really did like. So hold on, because I actually decided not to Google things and just wrote down my themes that I read specifically, or that I took away from it. And like, obviously, correct me if I'm wrong in this regard. It's fine if you're just like, yeah, I don't know about that one. It's just like, that's fair. This is just what I took away from it. So obviously, one of the big themes is like empathy. Like the whole book is about, or like the whole book is constantly talking about like empathy, like how Deckard never says that he's going to end the androids. He's going to retire them. Always refers to them as it for a long period of time, because when you refer to something as it, it's less human, so it's easier on your conscience to actually, you know, like, do what you need to do as a bounty hunter. There's the whole idea of, like, exploring the fact that later on, once, what was her name? Rose? I think her name was Rose? Rachel. When Rachel, convinces Deckard to start seeing her as human, and as soon as he does, he basically has a moment of crisis where he has the moment of just like, oh no, I'm starting to see you guys as human. Though that one I'm a little bit iffy about, because he basically only sees her as like allowed to live because he has sex with her, and only because he's attracted to her. So that one was a little bit, I don't know about that one, Chief. It very much had that attitude of just like, not you, not you, not you. You're hot, you can stay. Like, it had that kind of a feel to it. Also that they described her body as, like, very young, which I think was supposed to imply that there was, like, a youthfulness to her and, like, an innocence. And that's one of the reasons that he feels like he's not allowed to, like, to end her. But, like, it kind of, like, also comes across as, like, how to say it? Also comes kind of across as, like, being kind of sexualized, which is a little bit weird, but maybe just read it incorrectly. That could just be on me. Same with the opera singer. I don't know if he retired or if the other guy. I don't know if he would have retired if the other guy. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, because he was attracted to her because of her singing voice. She was an incredible opera singer. That's fair. All right, maybe I'm a little bit incorrect on that, though I'm pretty sure he mentions that she's attractive as well. Maybe I'm just misremembering that. At least in the case of Rachel, who he doesn't retire because Rachel is the android for the company that makes it. But there are some sexist. Yeah, exactly. There are some, or at least like objectification commentary where it's just like your value is in the fact that you're attractive. I did like, though, that Rachel ends up afterwards like kind of turning the tables on him a little bit, where he's just like, I don't think I can kill androids anymore. And she's just like, yeah, I have that effect on bounty hunters. And he just kind of has like a, what? And she's just like, yeah, I kind of do that. You're like, what does she say? I think like the 8th or something. You're like the 8th or 9th bounty hunter that I've like like quote like infected with like empathy for androids. So I like the little bit of the table turn on that in that regard, where he's just like, dang it, I think I might even be in love with you, which that was kind of weird that he like falls in love with her, but I don't know, maybe that's just a writing of the time style. But I do like that. I don't know how I feel about the fact that she murdered his sheep at the end. Actually, hold on, thinking about it now. Hold on. Okay, because one of the other themes is like organic versus artificial, and like the distinguishing difficulties between those two. Oh, not his sheep, sorry, his goat. Because at the beginning of the book, he has a mechanical or an electric sheep. Oh, wow, it's like the book has a title about it or something crazy. Which, you know, is like a huge thing for him, even though no one can distinguish it but him. Just like, yeah, it's fake. And that bothers me. It has to be real. Flossie, I'm so mad at you right now. Hold on, let me look at this. Dang it, Flossie! Dang it, hey, maybe lose my train of thought again. But yeah, like his whole thing is like, no, I need a real, authentic, organic animal. And then when he spends money that he got off murdering artificial life to buy an organic thing, I guess that there's a kind of a sinisterness of the artificial that made him view artificial as worthy of life took away his organic thing. I think that there's some odd poetic justice to that. And I'm just kind of realizing it now that I think about it. Damn it! I'm coming up with stuff on the fly! This book reading thing is bad. I'm starting to get ideas. I don't remember the quote anymore from Beauty and the Beast. What Gaston says, women shouldn't be reading. Soon they'll be getting ideas and something else. I don't remember the full quote, unfortunately. Where I'm starting to feel like that, where it's like, ah, crap. I'm starting to get critical thinking skills. I've been avoiding them for so long. But yeah, speaking about like that theme specifically, like organic versus artificial, which is like relatively strongly tied to the empathy. Again, Deckard goes through the arc of like starting to like being connected to some of the androids and being like, oh, this is pretty crazy. Like, I'm starting to refer to them as like she rather than it. And like that barrier. Also, this is a little bit of an aside note. No, hold on. That one waits until the next point. Hold on. Brain is buffering. This is Saturday all over again. Yeah, I do like I like themes like that. The whole like organic versus artificial, what's real and what's fake, like how can, you know, like the Turing test, for instance, you know, like that kind of situation, and that they have kind of the equivalency of like a Turing test in there in the form of that empathy test whose name I cannot pronounce. It's like Voigt Compt, the Voigt Compt. Test. I did my best. I wrote it down, all right? If nothing else, I have it written down. And I don't know. I like those themes. There's not really a whole lot I have to say about that besides I like those themes. I like the whole like questioning the self, questioning reality. Cause that's fun, you know? There's this fun to have like a little bit of like existentialism within your books in order for you to also have to sit back and be like, huh. Also with Paul, when Rick suspects Slash is under the impression that he's an android, he gets all confused. Which one's Paul again? Specifically, Flossie? Is that the other bounty hunter, or is that the police officer, or the police chief? No, it can't be the police chief. He basically gives it up immediately. The guy who okay, so it's the other bounty hunter guy. Yeah. It's the... What is it? He's the one who I think it's implied is like a sociopath or like a psychopath. A while I'm stabbing for the right one. I think Luba might be more correct. I don't know if I wrote it down. I stopped once I realized that they were kind of like entering and exiting names a lot. I stopped writing the names a little bit. Hold on, let me see if I actually wrote it down. Hello, Triox. How are you? No, I don't think I wrote her name down. I mean, not really important in the end. She ends up being murdered just like the rest of the androids. Oh, that was the other thing. Now that I'm rereading some of my notes. The freaking mood organ was also kind of weird. I found it interesting. Like the idea that there's like a device that basically produces... I don't know if it's a pill or a stimulant or something else, but like... You can just ask it to give you like different emotions. I do love, it has a bunch of different types of, I do like that it has a bunch of different types of things. Like, it's basically a dial, and the dial produces different things. Like, they talked about how there's, like, a calmness, a desire to watch television, a desire for sex, like, self-induced depression. And then there's also just, like, dial 3... to stimulate the desire to dial. Like, that's... I don't know if that was intended as a joke, but it made me laugh. Just the idea that there is a... like, a... how to say it? A dial specifically to give you the desire to use the dial, which is just so self-defeating. But I enjoyed it. I think it was very fun. I think it was just a funny little gag, which I hope it was a gag. Hold on, now I'm trying to remember where the heck I was going for a second. Sorry, I was looking at notes and now. And yeah, I believe that was... I think Paul was that particular guy, Flossie. It was the other bounty hunter. The one who basically... gave Deckard the advice of, sex him and then kill him. Which just, like, I think is supposed to reinforce that he's got kind of a screw loose to some degree, but then it, like, kind of also works out later because Deckard does sleep with Rachel, and then later he has to kill, Pritz, who is of the same model as Rachel is. So, like, I'm not sure what they were trying to go for there, honestly. But it was just, yeah, I don't know. That one was a little bit more weird. Like, I don't think Paul was a terrible character, but he was so short-lived. He was basically just there to be like, you know, some people are, some people are just different You know, like sometimes the test doesn't work on them, just not because they're like a special. Because I believe that's one of the things, right? Like some of the specials don't pass the test. I know that like the quote chicken heads do, but I don't know what the ant heads ever were. I don't think we ever learned what ant heads really were, besides that I think they were below chicken heads. But, oh, and no, Triox, you're, I'm pretty sure the book states that it's, like, against the law to have sex with an android. Because they're supposed to be, like, how to say... They're just supposed to be, like, in a servitude position. Like, they're supposed to do, like, maintenance and house care and work, etc. No problem at all, Brian. You have yourself a good shower. Okay, yeah, it was actually 6. Hold on, now I'm trying to remember what the heck is that. Triox, I take it you haven't read Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? Hold on, let me see. What was I going for here? Oh, it was Priss. It's Priss, not Prist. There's no T. Or there's a T, but it's in the second part. What the heck was my other darn thing? I've lost my place. What does that say again? What's that? There we go. What was the other character that did that too? Oh no, it was actually I don't remember if her name was Luna or Luba, but I mean, I guess that's technically the same reason for the androids to that degree, so I guess that's fair, Triox. But, hold on, now I need to know her name, because I didn't write it down for whatever reason. Do Android Stream of Electric Sheep, opera singer. What was her name? It was Luba. Luba Luft. Yeah, she starts out with she's the one who drops I think she's the one who drops the first, just like, how do you know that you're not an android? Oh, right, and then he gets dragged to like a complete... That one took me a little bit out of it, the idea that like there's an entire separate police station that is completely like self-contained. I mean, granted, it is stated that like that there's not a lot of people left on the planet, or at least in this particular area, which I believe we're in California. Somewhere in California. So I guess it's not entirely unreasonable, considering that like John thinks that he lives by himself in just a dilapidated apartment building. So I guess by that logic it's not entirely impossible, but it does feel a little bit weird that they'd be able to manage it. Time traveler kind of stuff on the side, but nah. Yeah, it was a little bit just like thinking about it now, it's just like, okay, it could work, but it's a bit weird. Like, it could work to some degree, but there's some stuff like timeline-wise that feels a little bit weird. I don't remember how long the androids were there, but the fact that like the one guy was just like a police chief there implies that they had at least been there for like a few, it should be at least more than just a few months, because it should be like established, but no, because they do say that he was part of the group that fled with Priss and the other two at the end, whose names I've forgotten. I don't know. It was that particular part was a little bit strange. There's a couple parts in the book that are a little bit strange, but again, overall, I think the book is actually quite good, personally. Hold on, pondering for a second. How was there no overlap? Again, Flossie, I think it's supposed to show just how dead the city is and the world itself. Because, like, at the very beginning, they push the idea, right, that, like, you should be emigrating to Mars because you get an android if you go there. And also, if you don't go there, you live in a world where nuclear fallout constantly falls. And they never mention it again. But how to say it? They never mention it again, but like Deckard is wearing like a lead cod piece to keep himself from becoming sterile because of all the nuclear fallout. It's like never mentioned again though, which kind of like bugs me a little bit. I guess it's just supposed to be like world building where it's like, hey, just a reminder, like being able to have kids is something that people worry about. And if you can't sometimes, or it's pretty common for people to lose that ability. It's just simply by being sterilized by your environment. But then how would Paul have so much experience? That's the one that confuses me, because it seemed like he had like a real gut instinct for stuff like that, but it also felt like he'd only been there. Maybe he had experience prior to that? I don't know if he's started there. It's Phil. Okay. I mean, regardless, I know who you were talking about. And the fact that it's PL, as far as my brain is concerned, makes perfect sense. But yeah, no, that is fair. I suspect the idea is that he had experience prior to he joined this particular place. But I don't know. It's not super well established. Timeline-wise, it's a little confusing. So I'll give you that. Because, yeah, especially when it was just, like, take me to, like, the northern, like, police station. And the guy's just like, there's nothing there, dude. And he's just like, go check. And he's just like, no, there's nothing there. And I'm like, I thought the same thing, Flossie. Like, either there was a time thing or that it was like, oh, Deckard's crazy. Like, he actually might be an android. And then it turns out it's like, no, they were really messing with them. And I don't know if all of them there are supposed to be androids. It can't be because Phil isn't. But I don't know. That part was a little bit confusing. I feel like the whole point to that was to be like, Deckard started to question his sanity. And then afterwards, Phil has this moment of just like, I actually get weird results from the empathy test because I'm a little bit kooky. And also, if you ever fall in love with an android, just bang him and then kill him. But it's like, okay. Actually, now that I'm saying that, the other one was, the other theme that I think is part of this book is like, so these are two different points, but I think they kind of mix. There's the hope versus despair. And then there's like entropy and the destruction of all things. Because there's the mercerism stuff that they constantly talk about, which is the whole idea of like, what is it? Kibble or kipple? Is it? I think it's supposed to be with a P. Kipple. Yeah, that word. Which is the idea of like clutter and junk buildup, I think. You can never get rid of kipple. And eventually the kipple will take over everything, I think is the idea. And the only real way to fix it, or there's not really a way to fix it, there's just ways to like pause it by like cleaning your room essentially and like praising mercerism, I guess. I don't know. It wasn't super fleshed out. I get what they were going for. It's the idea of like, it's how to say it. It is the existentialism in a form used by mercerism to strike fear into people. The idea of like, hey, like, reminder that all things will come to an end. Remember to say your prayers. Because they even say when Deckard comes back, when he's taken out the first 3 androids, well, not he specifically, but, you know, peeps involved in kind, he goes to his wife with the new goat, and she's just like, we have to give thanks to Mercer. You know, it's been so long since you've given praise to Mercer. And he's just like, I don't really wanna. And she's just like, come on. And he's like, all right, fine. And I don't mind that particular idea, because it is like things that certain religions do, right? There needs to be like, how to say it, the looming threat that keeps people within said religion, which is why I do kind of enjoy that they that the androids drop the like, ooh, turns out that mercerism is all a lie. And then, you know, what is it? John has his like, the existentialism like almost snaps his brain, where just all of a sudden he's just like, the world just like, once he's like realized this and like he's getting the information, like he's how to say it, he's displayed as, or he's mentioned to be like a less intelligent person, which I do think John was actually written really well. He reminds me very much of the way that Charlie was written in some of the earlier parts of Flowers for Algernon. But like, you know, his worldview gets shaken. He like crumbles for a moment as like, one, he watches the androids just like cut the legs off a spider, which like, I looked at that part up because I wanted to just like be like, what is supposed to be the symbolism here? And the first thing I found when I Googled, do androids dream of electric sheep spider moment, was, and thank you for the lurk, Solarcy. It's very much appreciated. Please have yourself a good lurk. The thing that caught me was, and it was the same thing as this Reddit post that said, do androids dream of electric sheep? Wrote a scene that made me empathize with a spider. Basically, as an arachnophobic, I felt sorry for a spider. And I thought that I was very much on board with that too. Like, I don't like spiders. I've got that sweet, sweet arachnophobia. And even I'm just sitting there, like, reading the book being like, yo, leave that thing alone, you fucks. Like, what the hell are you doing? Like, it reminded me of, like, in grade school, I knew somebody, or on our bus once, somebody managed to get a wasp under their finger without them being able to sting it, and they started pulling the wings off the thing, and I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Not in those words, obviously, because I was like 10. But I was very upset about, Ling, thank you so much for the raid. Hello, everybody. What are you doing here, Ling? Don't you have cooler people to raid? Hope I spelled that correctly. Boom. I want to see. What did you want to see? If you're actually doing book club, of course I am. Since it's April Fool's. I don't do April Fool's. I think April Fool's is silly to an extent. A little bit of like a tee-hee, like every now and then is fine, but like people take April Fool's to like obnoxious levels. So I just don't participate in it. No. We're definitely doing book club. Did you know that you're only supposed to do pranks in the morning of April Fools? I did not know that. So what, like in the afternoon you can make amends for the dicketry that you've done? You know, insert the Simpsons here of Bart shaking Homer's beer can so hard that it blows the windows off the house and has a beer flowing out of the chimney. In the afternoon, because half a day of shenanigans is more than enough. Ah, I mean fair. Fair. And that being said, I did participate at April Fool's a little bit. I was quite the prankster on Twitter. Aha. With a single tweet. That was literally just, good morning, everyone. I slept really well last night. Ooh, got him again. This prankster can't be stopped. I am built, I am fueled by tomfoolery. But yeah, that's the extent of my April Fools. Absolutely dastardly, right? I slept through the hours of possible shenanigans. Ling, you missed out. You had such an opportunity. But also, how was art? Did you enjoy your art? Sorry, we're in the middle of rambling about do androids dream of electric sheep. I'm just at a particular part that I was, how to say it? It's probably the most disturbing part in the book, as far as I'm concerned. Because it was definitely a part that I was like, I'm reading, but like, I'm a little bit uncomfortable with what I'm reading. Like, they're really making the androids like enemies all of a sudden. I decided I'll draw my shenanigans. Oh god, am I gonna regret looking on Twitter? Let me see. When does it get posted? I want to know when it gets posted so that I can complain about it thusly. But I hope that art was going well, Ling, and thank you again, of course, for the raid. And hello, everyone who stopped by. You guys know the drill, but in case you do not, if you guys need to step away to go take care of yourselves or live your lives or whatever it is you need to do, by all means do so. And if you would like to stick around, by all means, you're completely welcome to. Like I said, we're talking about Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? The book. All right, let me go see. Let me see. Where am I looking? There it is. Thank you, everyone, coming to stream. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to take away anything from this, so I'm not going to. I presume I'm not. I hope I'm not. That's my hope. I'm gonna like it regardless. By the way, to the pictures, dude. Yeah, that's what I figured. At first, I thought one of them was me, and I was like... But then I'm like, oh, wait, nope. You specifically wrote, Unicorn Overlord, or Overlord. Yeah, Unicorn Overlord. So it's like, whew, okay. I dodged a bullet. Freaking went, whew. No, I think I can tell which ones are the gentlemen of that particular drawing. I'm not tormenting you again yet. I accept your torments. Fan art is fan art. Yeah, with exceptions. And welcome back, Brian. I don't accept lewd. That's literally the only thing I won't accept. Well, and anything past lewd. I don't torture you with chaos. I accept chaos. I accept chaos into my life. You can't see it, but my arms are currently stretched out. I'm just like, do it. I cannot. Earlier like not even like 3 hours ago, I was literally unable to distinguish whether or not I was streaming Shadows of Doubt today because I was in like a weird dream hallucination that was just a little bit too real. It was very irritating, actually. Insanely irritating now that I'm thinking about it. All right, we're about to get hit by an ad, so we're going to take a really quick break to just deal with that situation, and then I'll finish my final thoughts on the book. I will read the review from our lovely book resident Flossie, and then I think we'll be done for today. It'll be a relatively quick one, because like, despite the fact that I really enjoyed the book, there's not a whole lot to say about it. Besides just like its themes, it has some good scenes. It's just one of those, just like, if you are interested in this kind of a style of story, read it. And if you're not, don't. It's kind of the summary of this. But all right, we're going to take a quick 5 to 10 minute break if you guys can and are able to. I hope that you get up and stretch. Grab yourself something to eat, grab yourself something to drink. Make sure you guys take care of yourselves. I will be back ASAP. BRB. I had completely forgotten to turn on my frickin' eye tracking, and I just realized it now, and now I'm embarrassed. Welcome back, everybody. I hope that you guys had a good 3-ish, 5-ish minutes break. I'm embarrassed. Don't mind me. Just gonna continue to be embarrassed. And thank you very much, Flossie. I appreciate that. Hold on one more time. Adjust. There we go. Now, what the hell were we talking about? Oh, yeah, the spider scene. I didn't like the spider scene. It was strange. I think it was supposed to be like a test to like John, because he's the one who brings like the 3 androids in. Well, he befriends the 1 android, Pris, and then the other 2 show up, and he's being like really hospitable, and he's very excited about it because he's like, oh, I'm gonna be able to help people, and that's something I like to do. And then he like finds a spider in the hall and catches it because like they're super rare, and there's a chance that that thing might have been a robot, because like later when Deckard finds the toad, it turns out that it's fake. So like there's a chance, excuse me, there's a chance that the spider was also fake, but like doesn't matter because they still freaking like tear a portion of its legs off for like just no reason. It's like, I just wanted, it doesn't need this many legs. Let's reduce the amount of legs it has. It's just like, what is wrong with you? Oh, by the way, the androids don't feel empathy like people do. And it's just like, do you have to be so on the nose about it though? Because it makes them, it goes from like them being like, kind of like odd, but like, you can kind of get it. You know, like they make mentions of how androids, when they hit these certain points, they just become like deadpan, like they just kind of mentally, like if they're being hunted and they realize that there's no escape, they usually just hit like this like defeatist state where they just kind of go like, I guess I'm going to die kind of idea. And it's like, okay. And like, but they're like quite smart and they like approach things very well. Just the only thing is that they are lacking, or that they have a lack of empathy. They don't understand empathy. But there's like a difference between like human empathy and like murdering an, or like torturing an animal for no reason. I'm sure that there's a connection there that I'm just not getting, but Vtuber, thank you so much for the follow. Hold on. Now I've lost my train of thought again. Yeah, that part was kind of just like, why though? Hold on. I think it's kind of touching on the limits of their apparent humanity, you know, like a kid still wonders if a spider needs so many legs, but they're unlikely to yank them off. I mean, I guess I just mentioned that I actually witnessed somebody pull the wings off a wasp before. And, like, yelled at them to stop because I was like, what the heck is wrong with you? But yeah, I guess so. I guess that they're supposed to imply, like, a childish lack of awareness for what they're doing. It's a freaking maniac. Well, then I guess I dealt with a maniac at one point in school, because that was the thing I witnessed and was just like, what the hell? Leave the damn thing alone. At that point, the wings were off, so, you know, at that point, it's just like, I mean, you might as well just kill it at that point, but like, Jesus. Kids are psychos. Don't trust kids. You can't trust kids. But yeah, I mean, still like an uncomfortable scene where I guess it's technically, now that you say that, Flossie, it is supposed to be the moment where you're just like, it's supposed to be like, oh, they really aren't human. And you need to like, and like it's being kind of force fed to you at the moment, but like it's important that you know that. Partly because then you don't feel as bad when frickin' when Deckard murders the heck out of them. I guess also they don't have any humanity because they just throw each other under the bus, right? Like, it's mentioned a couple times. It's like, oh, an android will completely abandon another android to save themselves. So I guess that does make sense now that we're thinking about it. All right, fair enough. You've convinced me, Flossie. Well done. Your daft British intellect has struck my non-British intelligence right in its hind region. I must once again ponder my ways and be embarrassed. What was the other thing that I was saying again? Hold on. Oh, the hope and despair. This is not as prevalent in... It is kind of... There are points of, like, the hope and despair. Just, like, you know, trust in Mercerism and then fall apart. You know, like, as long as we have the whatchamacallit empathy test, we can detect androids. Oh my god, brain. The other thing that I kind of enjoyed from that particular theme, should the theme have been there, was when Deckard's wife is like, I'm just going to, let myself experience depression. Like, I'm not gonna take anything from the mood organ. I'm just gonna let myself just fall into this purposefully and just like lets it happen. And I'm just like, honestly, I've been there before. I've had where I feel like a depressive episode coming on, like a particularly strong one, and it's just like, I'm just gonna let this happen. I'm just gonna, how to say it, I'm just gonna let myself fall into that wave rather than running from it and just kind of see how it is. And welcome back, Brian. I hope that your tea is being enjoyable. I hope your tea is enjoyable. I'm very good at the English language, you see. So, like, I enjoyed that, and then, like, when she comes back out of it, I think she comes out of it when he buys the goat, doesn't he? Or doesn't she? I think. Or is, like, part of that she's just like, oh, I'm back. Hello. I'm back from my depression. And then she's like, oh my god, it's a goat. Cry real tears. But, like, actually, though, not just me being a dramatic goober. Hold on, just pondering other things, potentially. I don't know, there was just, like, most of it is just, like, the entropy thing, right? Just the idea of just, like, everything will fall to despair. Oh, like, again, like, Deckard going out into the desert, which was, like, one. I don't know, maybe I'm just... brain's a little bit wired differently, but it was weird that he was done his assignment and then was just like, I'm gonna go to the desert to die. Or at least it's like kind of implied that I'm going to the desert to die. And it's like, dude, just take a nap. You literally have the mood organ. Just take a sleeping pill and just out. And he's just like, I'm going for a drive. Don't worry about it. I'm going for a drive. And then he goes to, like, an area that he's not supposed to go to because it's, like... I think one of the reasons that people are supposed to not, like, really live by themselves is because of the whole, like... everyone is freaking depressed as heck and are just, like... about to... like, are all teetering on the edge of yeeting or yeetus-deletusing themselves. And, like, Deckard almost does, but then he starts thinking that he's Mercer, and he's, like, not really caring, and then suddenly he does care, and then one of the reasons that he cares is because he sees the toad, and he knows the toad is worth a lot of money, which is, like, really depressing that, like, even in this moment, his brain still goes to, like, a paycheck, but it's, like... constantly hinted at, like his whatever the heck that booklet is that shows the prices of animals. His is like well worn. Like he checks it all the time. Because he is obsessed with authenticity and like spending money on like expensive things. And like, I believe if I remember correctly in the book, every day before he goes to work, he stops in front of like the pet shop and just like stares at like the animals that he can't afford. And it's just like, bruh, chill. I mean, at the same time, what else are you going to spend the money on? Because it sounds like for the most part, people are pretty good in terms of like food and living. It's at least not really stated that anybody has any want. Like literally, like even John just walks into an abandoned apartment complex one day and goes, "I'll take this one. This is mine now." Even though I think it's kind of frowned upon, but still does it. But yeah, and then he like comes back, and then the ending was a little bit bizarre too. Like the ending, he comes back. Yeah, I wrote Rick goes to the desert to become Mercer? ? Like he's just completely lost. And then he gets back in his car and I don't remember if he is supposed to call the other guy, the bounty hunter that failed to get them first and then leaves the car, or if it's when he comes back he calls. I think it's before he gets out of the car he calls him, because he just wants the guy to know so that he can get praise from him, so that he has some kind of a connection. And the guy can't. Like, he's in too bad of a condition to be able to contact. And then... Yeah, then he does it before he gets out of the car, because then he calls his boss, and the boss's assistant picks up and notices that he's in a bad state and kind of goes like, "I think you should call your wife." And he's just like, "Bah, bah, bah." And she's like, "I think that you should call your wife and tell her that you're okay." And he's just like, "Ah, bah, bah, bah." And then he hangs up, and then he walks out into the desert, which I don't quite understand if it's like really dusty, like it's always like windy, and therefore like impossible to see things, because it seemed like there was a lot of wording that he was walking blindly, but not blindly in a sense of like he wasn't thinking, but also blindly in the sense of like he couldn't really see his surroundings. And then he gets the toad, is like excited by the fact that the toad is supposed to be extinct, and is like, "Oh shit, the paycheck." Then goes back home, shows his wife the toad. His wife notices that the toad is fake, and he's like, "I guess it was too good to be true. I'm gonna go take a nap." And he just hits the frickin' pillow and passes out. The wife calls a company and is like, "Hey, we have a mechanical toad, and I want you to send me the best of the best equipment for it." And then the final line of the entire book, which is right here. Hold on, let me grab it real quick. Oh, you freaking tablet and your unamusing methods of doing things. The very last line of the book. "Fine," Irene said. "I want it to work perfectly. My husband is devoted to it." She gave her address and hung up. And, feeling better, fixed herself a last cup of black hot coffee. And hello, Haya. It's just like, I get that the ending is supposed to be like, the ending is like, and it was done. You know, it is finished. Deckard is asleep. He finally has gotten to sleep after retiring 6 androids over the course of like 24 hours. He has been awake for that entire time. He is tired. And his wife has arranged something to try and make him feel better, even though, as far as I'm aware, he wasn't really that interested in it anymore once it was... No, as far as I'm aware, he's not really that interested in it. How are you, by the way? Hi, thank you for stopping by. I've been rambling about this book for almost an hour and a half. Yeah, he didn't care. Yeah, so his wife just casually kind of lies. And then just has herself a cup of tea. Or a cup of coffee. So it's just like, even the ending was a little bit bizarre. You know, like, what am I supposed to take away from this? Because, like, at the beginning of the book, it feels like they're not in a loved marriage. It should have been tea. Amen, Flossie, but... Whenever the book was written was a coffee era. That was the time of coffee, where everybody drank coffee and everybody was addicted to coffee, which is no different from now, but it was then, too, coffee. I believe at the beginning of the book, it's kind of implied that there's kind of a lovelessness in their marriage. Green tea, I presume, is what you're going for there, Flossie. But, like, when he gets the goat, there's, like, something to their relationship. To some degree. Because the intro was very much just like, the wife likes to spend my money and not really love me. And then when he buys her something, she's like, it's amazing. Mwah. And it's just like, does this reinforce the situation or not? This thing isn't real, but I will display empathy by threatening it with care. We got it by killing a bunch of things that are also not real, but giving them no empathy. Yeah, that's what we were saying earlier, Haya, that like one of the big things in the book, or one of the big themes, is like empathy and like the empathy for others. And how, actually kind of thinking about it, one of the ways that Deckard gets over his empathy for the Rachel model is religion. Because, like, what is it? Pris? He's just like, I'm never going to be able to kill Pris. That's why I need Rachel, because Rachel's going to be the one that can kill Pris and I can take care of the rest. And the only reason that I can't kill Pris is because she looks like Rachel, who I am all of a sudden in love with? Question mark? And then he's like walking through the one area after talking to John, and then fucking Mercer shows up and is just like, you can do this. You can kill the Rachel one. And then he kills her when she's rushing him, and he's just like, well, now I can kill the rest, no worries. Is that a strange, subtle jab at religion, or was it just how the writer specifically wrote it? I don't know. And actually, I want your opinion on this, because I know that you read it too. Flossie and I were just saying a while ago that the empathy boxes felt really surreal in the book. Like, they felt almost unnecessary. The way that I describe it is that everything in the book makes sense to a degree. I can understand hover cars, I can understand dystopian future, I can understand mechanical animals, I can understand androids. And then there's a box that if you grab onto it, it makes you transport to basically watching this world's version of Christ walking his cross. And if you get injured during that, when you release the empathy box, you have those injuries. And then at one point, John, after the androids mutilate the spider and then John drowns it out of pity, he goes to his empathy box and Mercer gives him a spider, and then he just has it. And then he releases it out into the wild again. And it's like, what the fuck is this magic box? I read it ages ago and wasn't able to reread it with this for this stream, but it was killing me. I'd love to try to figure out this book with others. Yeah, no, I think Flossie and I are in complete agreement that that thing is weird, and the only reason it's really there, and hey Spencer, how's it going? The only reason it's really there is to like build on how connected people are with Mercer and Mercerism, because that way the Buster friendly moment where he discloses that everything that happens in the empathy box is a lie is supposed to hit harder, because you realize that it's supposed to like rattle the foundations of certain parts of society because you're learning that your religion is fake. But it's like, I feel like they could have done it differently. And hello, Snappa, how are you? It's a 3D print with harm functions. Just kidding. I'm sure that it's some kind of metaphor. It's supposed to be, but it's weird because like everything else. Oh, laser pistols. You know, like I can visualize laser pistols. I can do that. Flossie, should this be the time where I read your review? And then we can talk more about the stuff that... Because I know that at one point these book clubs are going to devolve into like, this is what I didn't like about the book. And then it'll be just like, so it's a bad book? It's like, no, I'd still recommend people read the book. I thought it was a good book. I enjoyed my time with it. There were some ups and downs, but... But overall, I would still give the book probably like... I can't give it a 4. Nah, maybe I will give it a 4. 3.75. 3.75 out of 5. I enjoyed the book. I liked it. It got my brain churning. Some of the poetry I wrote this month was kind of semi-spawned because of that book, so it hit me enough of it with an impact that I enjoyed it. This is clearly an allegory for something, but who knows what. Elden Ring in this book. Are you an Elden Ring player as well, Haya? If I had to guess, given the era that it was written in, the future we have objects that works with divine magic dust today. Snappa, I believe the exact idea that you're coming up with right now is the concept of technology levels past a certain threshold of our conception is indistinguishable from magic. And the only problem I have with it is that everything else in this book is not that. Space travel, hover cars, laser guns, dystopian, like, megastructures, androids. All of that stuff makes sense. And then there's just this one box that for some reason is like divine beyond intervention. Or how to say it, is like technology beyond our concept. And by the sound of it, it's basically just super intense VR. Because when you grab onto it, you basically, I don't remember if you're supposed to become Mercer or you're supposed to be connected to Mercer and also everybody else who is connected to Mercer as he's doing this like 16-year walk or whatever the heck it was. But it feels weird. It's worth keeping in mind that I'm pretty sure that Philip K. Dick was very neurodivergent. Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. And don't get me wrong, I enjoy the frick out of this book. But there is also just a bunch of parts that just feel disconnected. Like Flossie just said, it's like, so how does it make sense that this box is fake? That everything in the box is fake, and even in the box itself, the box tells you that it's fake? And hello, Avatar. I'm at the eye doctor, and my eyes are dilated, so have a nice stream. Wait, does that mean that you can see color? Or wow, I fucked that joke up right off the bat. Just straight off the bat, fuck that joke up. Does that mean that you can see colors, Avatar? As opposed to when you can't see colors? Avatar, ew. Pain Box from Dune. I haven't read Dune yet, Haya. I want to read it, but I'm being told that it's going to be a long-ass book to read in 1 month, and I'm like, but I want to read Dune at some point. The scary thing is that eventually we all come to, we could all realistically make the box somehow with how we managed to make almost everything else. Give or take. True. But at that point, it wouldn't be foreign or how to say it, wouldn't be like indistinguishable from magic, right? Eventually, we'll just get there, and the steps that we take to get there will be like semi-understood. Like the hover car is just an extent, like how to say it, it's just the natural progression for some people of the car, right? Like I can understand horseback, I can understand horse and cart, I can understand wagon, I can understand, you know, like old car, I can understand modern cars, I can understand hover car. You know, like we can see that progression. But here we can't see the steps to how the empathy box came into existence. I'm going to be real. Anything on a quantum level is always going to be magic to me. I'm pretty sure even for a lot of scientists, it's considered magic. It's just like I can mathematically calculate why when we don't observe something, it's going to do one thing, and when we observe it, it does something different. And it's like, oh, so you understand how it works? And he's like, no, I have no idea. I can just mathematically prove that it happens. Yeah, we're going to science out the magic. Yeah, as we should. We must remove the great god of the gaps. There's a reference that hopefully some people know. Yeah, I took a humanities class once. What of it? I just thought it was good. God, I hope that's what it is. Snappa, I hope that's what it is. Oh my god, I hope that's what it is. Like, the whole idea of just, like, when the teacher... How to say it? The story of, like, the teacher that just, like, the curtains were blue to represent the melancholic state that the character was in, and then she takes her class to, like, go meet the writer, and then she asks about the curtains, and the author goes, oh, I thought the curtains would look nice if they were blue. Literally the same idea. It's like, what could the empathy box mean? And Phil's just like, oh, seemed like a neat idea, so put it in. Makes me think of Orwell. Go on. I'm intrigued by what you say. Also, yeah, I think that's where I'm gonna stick my rating, like a 3.75 out of 5. Know that it looks cool, but I don't know a lot about Orwell. I haven't read a lot of Orwell, or I haven't read any Orwell stuff. No, wait. Orwell wrote, he had to have. Okay, yes, I have read Animal Farm. Surprise. Probably one of the more read Orwellian books, at least as far as I'm aware. Shock and awe. Wow. Wow. Hold on, sorry, just doing a ponder. On Shock. Exactly, Flossie. 1984. I haven't read 1984. I would like to read more of Orwell's stuff. But a lot of it, as far as I'm aware, is like weirdly political right now. I don't know. I'm like, Orwell's stuff, as far as I'm aware, has a lot of like political leanings to it to some degree, like looking at the world from like a dystopian perspective and like how we can get there. But, like, I know that, like, especially, like, these days, there's a lot of just, like, that's pretty Orwellian, you know, like, oh, this is so Orwellian, and it's just, like, a part of me wants to be like, is it, though? I should go read those books, because I feel like some people are just dropping Orwell without having read any of his material. Pretty heavily political. Yeah, that's why we're probably never gonna actually choose one of those for book club, because let's not do that. Let's not divide my already small book club community. Hey guys, this month we're gonna read 1984, and the next month we're gonna read Mein Kampf. You know, just to get a real view of like different political spectrums. If it is Snappa, I didn't know. I swear this is me just making a really dumb joke. Wow, I love that I get 2 laughs and then Haya going, Will's doomed. My rival's doomed. I'm gonna cut the cord now. Just look over at Twitter and see all of the tweets Haya and I have ever sent to each other are just gone. She just publicly announces, just like, I've never known someone named WillSleepsNot, and you can't prove otherwise. I don't know who he is. I am not associated with him. Well, by that logic, we also need to read oh god. What is that famous book again? One moment. Oh, the Communist Manifesto. That's obviously one we have to read as well, then. And then we also have to... Okay, I have to stop because I'm going to start saying some really bad books. Hello, Pep Thread. How are you? I can't say the one because Haya won't even get reprimanded by, like, the staff. Like, Haya will be just like, I'm reprimanding you. I thought you were going to say, no, I was going to say something a little bit worse. And that's just no. I would never. I mean, if you want to... I'm not going to stop people from reading the Book of Mormon. All right, class, for this month. We're going to truly understand Mormonism. Some of you may change by the end of this, and I'm sorry for that, but that's the... For this month, we're going to take break from a chill cookbook, the Anarchist Cookbook. Exactly, you know, nothing quite like learning... well, the things that are in the Anarchist Cookbook. I won't say more just in case that potentially gets some stuff flagged. Let's move on. Hold on, I'm gonna type to Haya what I was thinking. And Haya can respond in kind. Where's Haya? There she is. There we go. Haya, you get to decide if you want to scream at me or not. That was the joke I decided might have been going a little bit too far. Is that an actual book, Pep Thread? That's one hell of a book if it is. That's a crazy title for a book. Really on point, though. I mean, to be fair, I just learned that there's a book out there called... I think the book is called, like... Women Have Better Sex in Socialism, I think is the name of the book. Will, please. I didn't say it, Haya. To be fair, I didn't say it. I'm aware of the volatility of that title. And besides, we already have the next book chosen. It's Neuromancer, which I'm so jealous that I know somebody who actually has the physical book of that, and I'm just like, that's pretty cool. Depends on what you mean by better and for whom. Oh, it is. The argument is very much better and for women. I'm not going to go down that road because it's heavily political, and even though there are things that I agree with, we're not going to go down that road because that's not what this channel is about. Even as the jazz becomes rather, like, smooth. I'm not going to go down that road. I'm just not going to go down that road. But yeah, I'm going to read our reviews, which of course is Flossie, because Flossie is a wonderful lady who does indeed does the reviews for us. Wait, Flossie, I'm still good to read this, right? I want to make sure that I always check on that because I don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable. Yeah, yes. Okay, then in that case, we're going to go here. And what button did I put this under? Was it this one? There we go. All right, we got to read our reviews, so I got to be ready for it. All right, so here we go. This is the Flossie review. 2.25 out of 5 stars. A futuristic bracket almost and bracket now, or the future is almost now. Intriguing and certainly a conversation piece. Do androids dream of electric sheep touches on themes on what is truly means to be human and how wide a space we should allow for technology and all that it brings into our daily lives, developing on what costs it may come to us. In a half-built world with vaguely resemblance to ours, following Rick was a bumpy ride. I found most of the characters to lack a certain depth, and that the plot got lost in the thought experiment on questions the writer seemed to have had on the world where technology and what is made is almost indistinguishable from the maker. Despite the fact that I wasn't a huge fan of the writing style, I did enjoy the first half of the book. However, I feel like any solid parts of the story kind of melted away in the latter half, but maybe I was just lost. I have had a couple of conversations with friends about the PKD that are PKD fans. PKD fans, yeah, I did say it correctly, in an effort to further grasp the point, in quotation marks. I found that I may enjoy the book more a second time around with their questions and observations, but I know that it is unlikely I will pick up another copy. As a conversation starter on AI, if humanity is limited to being human and how much is lost from that humanity when something is removed or lost, like empathy, I think it's an interesting angle. One friend brought up a couple of questions that I feel is kind of where I am with the book. In a world that has dived into AI like the characters in the book, are we going to have to accept the inauthentic and pretend? If so, what will we do with our souls? End quote. The themes are stronger than the story with this one for me. There we go. I fumbled a lot, but we made it to the end. And I don't think I disagree with you, Flossie. I think that there's definitely moments in the book that feel like it kind of like snapped forward and then snapped back again. It does stick to a general theme for the most part, Like, it tries its best to stay within the lanes of the themes that it's going for, but sometimes I do agree that it doesn't quite, how to say, it doesn't always approach the themes the way it could have. There's a lot of stuff that just kind of like, and then this happens, and that's part of this theme, and it's just like, it is part of that theme, but I'm not sure why that happened. And like in some books that happens, right? Like there's the, what do you call it? Like the, what do you call it again? The, just how to say it, when, man, my brain is just crap today. I'm glad that we're almost at the end of this. Not because I don't want to keep talking about it, but just because I am just so brain dead right now. Just that idea that, like, there are going to be outside forces that strike the main character that can't really be predicted. Or they can be predicted, you just weren't aware that they were going to happen. You know, like, when he gets arrested, it's not entirely unreasonable that he gets arrested when he goes after Luba Luft. Like, that's not an unreasonable thing, right? He gets into her dressing room, tries to pull a gun on her, or tries to pull a trick on her. He goofs, kind of out of character to some degree, I will admit. And then she manages to pull a gun on him, gets him arrested. That part, for the most part, is a smooth motion. It's just like, yeah, that makes sense. You know, she gets the jump on him just through kind of like tricking him a little bit, and he has, how to say it, he has the moment where it's just like, I've been outplayed, heck. But then to add tension, they add a completely different police. They add a completely different, like, police unit. When the cop that arrested him could have just been the police chief android. And he could have just been like, you're coming with me, and then at one point gets him into, like, an alley, you know? And been like, yeah, so you know too much, and nobody really checks this place, so here's where I'm gonna, you know, take you out. And that's when Phil comes in and takes him out, you know? And it's just like, oh my god, thank you so much for keeping him in one spot. I've been tracking him for, like, weeks, you know? Boom. Same situation. Still similar attitudes to the general feel, but not this weird just like, how is this entire building just not being monitored by people? And that's just an off-the-cuff idea. I don't know if it's a good idea, but it's an idea. Yeah, I think that's generally the summary. I like the themes. I like the characters. For the most part, I like the general direction of the story. I think some stuff could have been done better. I think that's my takeaway. That's why I'm going to give it like I might bring it down to actually like a 3.5. Still enjoyed it. Liked the general thought process. Got my brain churning. Was also a nice palate cleanser to Lord of the Flies, because that was actually a slog of a book. Holy heck, that book was not interesting. That's not fair. It was interesting, but there was definitely a portion of the book where I was just like, whew, gotta get through this one. Whereas, like, this book, every time I picked it up, I looked forward to reading it. So, that's why I'm still gonna give it like a 3.5. And yeah, there you go. I think that's the end of our review of Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? We did it, everybody. Give yourself a pat on the back. Give yourself one of these. I wish that I could, like, reverb this so it sounded like I was doing, like, a bazillion thumbs. And there you go, Brian. You stick around to the very end. You did it. Have yourself a good night. And for the rest of you guys, if you guys would like to be part of the book club, first of all, you have to join my Discord, which is, you know, a bit of a hassle, but you can do it right there. And then when you go to the rules, there's a nice little blue book at the bottom. If you click on that, you will become a book club member, where you get to be part of the secret book club, where we talk about the books we're reading and suggest books, and I tell you the books that we're gonna read because I'm a tyrant who says, no, I want to read this book and you will read it with me. And if you don't want to do that, that's also totally fine as well. This month, this wonderful month of April, we're going to read Neuromancer by, I wrote it somewhere, one moment please, by Willem Gibson. Gibson? Yeah. So if that sounds interesting to you all, if you have read the book before and you want to reread it, by all means do so. If you've read it before and you know it and you want to discuss it at the end of the month, please feel free to come by. If you haven't read it before and you've been interested in it, please join us in reading it so that we can talk about it afterwards and feel like we're far more sophisticated than we are. We swirl our brandy within our specific brandy mugs in order to enhance the flavors as we eat cheese and discuss the book in the most primitive of senses, where it's like, wow, this book was about technology, and it's just like, my God, we're all geniuses. You know, or we don't do that. One of the two, whichever one is interesting to you. But yeah, thank you guys so much for sticking around. Thank you for listening to me ramble about a book for 2 hours, which I've done several times. IQ increased by 2 points from reading the Forbidden Tomes. Exactly. This is how we increase our intelligence scores. Cheese and wine slaps with book talk. I have never drank a wine that I've liked, Flossie, so unfortunately that part I can't agree with. I do like cheese, though. But that might just be because I'm white. If anybody here has ever seen the Boondocks. Like the first episode of Boondocks. Look. For those who aren't aware, I know, Pep Thread, I'm sorry to deceive you like this, but I am, in fact, pasty white. There's a scene in the show Boondocks where the grandfather is like, keeps telling his grandsons that white people love cheese. And then at one point, like, you know, like the quote, like bad guy shows up who is like this, like, you know, like monopoly tycoon, like heavy set, like fat cat white guy comes in, and the grandpa's just like, would you like some cheese? And the you know, like the fat cat is just like, did you just ask me if I wanted some cheese? He's like, yes, I love cheese. Just like this, it's such a dumb joke, but it makes me laugh. So whenever there's like a situation when someone mentions like, do you want some cheese? I'm always just like, I love cheese. Sorry, this is a very dumb thing. Also, if you can handle the humor, watch Boondocks. It's very funny. It's a very particular type of comedy. So, like, be prepared for very heavy racial humor, but it is very funny. The preceding joke. Yeah, absolutely. If it wasn't for the fact that he is literally arguing with, I can't remember if it's his grandson or if it's his nephew. No, it has to be because they call him granddad, so it's his grandson, where he's arguing that that like all white people like cheese, and his grandson is just like, You can't just think that. And then afterwards, he's like completely proven right. Ah, so good. Such a good setup and delivery. I can't say the actual lines of the show because that could potentially cause some issues, but regardless. All right, first of all, glasses off, back to the full zoom out. I'm detached from you guys now. Please stay within like 3 arm lengths of me. I don't like to be touched. Thank you. Stay on that side of the room where the chairs are. Thank you. There's no chairs there. There's nothing over there. Behind you guys is nothing, I'm pretty sure. I don't think that wall actually exists. You know what? Let's find out together. Let's break this immersion for a moment for the funsies of it. What is it? I think it's... No. Okay, there's that. Where's the rotate? There's the rotate. Yep, just the void. Nothing. Nothing. Void. I had an idea once to animate a show about a character who would get stuck in a room. And the whole premise of the show was that he just like vlogs his experiences in this room. Like he falls into the room. And then like the hole that he falls through like closes. And he realizes that all the amenities are in the room. Like it's like a studio apartment. So like the kitchen, the bedroom, and the living room are all a thing. And all he has is basically like a bed, a computer with like, how to say it? Like a computer with a, like a webcam, a small handheld camera, and like a kitchen with the amenities that he needs. And the idea is like, he finds a contract that he can't read out loud because every time he does, like his recording software cuts out because it's very much like under the concept of oh, what is the name of that movie? The Truman Show, that kind of idea. Like at one point he manages to figure out how to open the front door, but the outside of the front door is just a void, and like he's thrown something out of it and it fell out of view, and it's just like the adventures of what he has to deal with just like living in isolation in this. Never got a chance to animate it though. I did model the room, and then I just modeled the character and then thought it looked terrible and then gave up. The closest thing I've ever done to an actual animation project on my own, and I gave up on it. A horror novel where the protagonist has to use dial-up internet to solve digital crimes. Oh. Oh. Snappa, you can't say things like that here. It upsets people. Literally sweating, crying real tears, inconsolable. No give up. Oh, I give up all the time, Flossie. I have a whole series in my head, partially written down. A friend of mine has even been like offering to like help me with it, and I'm like, it's never gonna happen. It's never gonna get made. I have 2 trailers that I have completely planned out for it, and they're never gonna get made. They just aren't. My other animation jobs has just destroyed any desire to ever get back into animation. And that's just how it is. And with that somber note, that's where we're going to end today's stream. Let's see who we're going to raid. Hold on. I don't know what the heck this is. Okay, we have that, we have that, we have that. Hold on. What is Mimi doing? Oh my goodness. Ads. Ads are the worst. Can we please just abolish ads forever? Thank you. I would love that. Thank you. All right, one final check. I think that we're gonna go over to Psycho Olive or Psych Olive. Psych Olive's cool. We like Psych Olive. I like Psych Olive. And that's all that matters. Dramaticized, your opinions don't matter here. Oh, wait, sorry. What I mean to say is, your opinions don't matter here. Okay. Sorry. I'm in a very strange brain right now. I don't know why. I had I had Tim Hortons today, and I swear to God, Tim Hortons caffeine is more cocaine than caffeine, because I could not sleep for the life of me. I have drank like full teapots full of black rose, or red rose coffee, sorry. Or red rose tea, which is a decent amount of caffeine, and has done almost nothing to me. That frickin' French vanilla just put me on my ass. It's terrible. But regardless, sorry. Socials. If you want to support me, you can go to Twitter. I wouldn't recommend going there. Twitter's awful, so maybe I should just remove that Twitter at some point. Discord, where you can find the community chatting about random things. My YouTube, where I post on Wednesdays and Saturdays. My VODs channel, in case you want to see any of the VODs. My ASMR channel that will not be updated until I finally frickin' fix the noise of my computer, because my computer's a noisy little bum. My Instagram, I just post art on there sometimes. You don't have to go there if you don't want to, but it'd be neat if you did. And also a throne. If you want to support me in non-monetary ways, or how to say it, non-sub ways, there's stuff on there that I guess you could contribute to if you really want to. And thank you for summarizing and telling us of Deckard's failed marriage. That's the main story point, honestly, Pep Thread. Everything else, the androids and everything, doesn't matter. Deckard is in a loveless marriage. That's important. That's what we really need to take away from this. All right, we are going to go ahead and rate. I didn't even freaking copy her name properly. We're going to go to Psycho Olive. She is playing Secrets of Grindia, which I don't really know what it is, but it feels a little bit like it has a Stardew Valley look to it, if nothing else, but I don't think that's exactly what it is. If you are subscribed, please use the top raid message. If you are not subscribed, please use the bottom raid message. Thank all 9 of you for being lovely lads and ladies and being here and hanging out with me while we're talking about books. All right, I'm going to do my outro, and then we're going to get on out of here because I'm being... So, thank you guys so much for sticking around. Whether you were chatting, whether you were looking, whether you just popped in and out for a second, know that you were super appreciated. This isn't personal enough. I hope that you guys are having a great day, afternoon, evening, or night, whatever time it happened to be for you. I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves. I hope that you're drinking plenty of water. And when you finally do sleep, whatever time it happened to be for you, I hope that you have a very restful sleep. I will see you guys over at Psycho Olives, and I will hopefully see you guys tomorrow for Shadows of Doubt, where we're going to try to roleplay for the entire stream. It's going to be rough. I'm going to try to be noir. It's going to be really difficult. See you guys then. Bye-bye.